Alpha King saw Omega stand in front of Lunar fire for him and asked why fire echoed her heartbeat. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's return to our main characters. In a land where power was measured by dominance and submission, Alpha Kings ruled with unwavering strength, while Omegas were often seen as fragile, subjugated by their nature. But this world, bound by ancient laws, was about to witness an encounter that would forever alter the fate of both an Alpha King and his Omega. Aiden, the Alpha King, stood tall and powerful. His presence alone could silence a room, a true leader amongst his kind. His reputation was unmatched, feared, respected, yet strangely distant from the very people he ruled. But there was one thing Aiden had never understood. Why did he feel an inexplicable pull toward Emma, an Omega who had always seemed insignificant in his eyes? Emma, on the other hand, was no ordinary Omega. Her heart beat with a rhythm unlike any other Omega, one that could stir the very air around her. For years, she had hidden her true power, afraid of what it might reveal, not only to others but to herself. Little did she know that her heart would soon reveal more than just her deepest emotions. Tonight, under the pale glow of a full moon, Aiden and Emma found themselves standing before a phenomenon that had both awed and terrified many before them: the lunar fire. The fire, a mystical force born of the moon's purest energy, danced in the air, crackling with ancient power. The flames shimmered with hues of silver and gold, creating an ethereal light that enveloped the entire clearing. For Emma, the fire was more than just a natural wonder. It pulsed in time with her heartbeat, as if the fire itself were alive, echoing her emotions. Aiden could feel it too, the strange, magnetic pull toward the fire, and more so, toward Emma. He had never witnessed anything like this before. His gaze lingered on her, not just in wonder, but in a deeper, almost instinctive recognition. As the flames swirled around them, he turned to her, his voice barely above a whisper. "Why does the fire echo your heartbeat, Emma?" The question hung in the air, heavy with unspoken curiosity and a tinge of awe. Emma's eyes widened in surprise. She had felt it too, the connection between the fire and her own heart. But she had never been able to explain it, not even to herself. I don't know," she whispered, her voice trembling. "But I can feel it, Aiden. It's like the fire is alive, and it's responding to me." Aiden's gaze softened, a rare vulnerability flickering across his usually stoic face. He had seen many wonders in his life, but this was something he couldn't comprehend, something that pulled at his very soul. "You're not like any Omega I've ever known," he said quietly. "There's something in you, Emma. Something extraordinary." And in that moment, amidst the flickering glow of the lunar fire, both Aiden and Emma understood that their lives would never be the same again. The bond between them had just begun to awaken, and with it, the secrets of the fire and their hearts would unfold in ways neither could have predicted. I had never seen Aiden like this before. His usual composure had cracked, and I could feel the weight of his gaze on me, his eyes burning with curiosity and something more. The fire continued to dance in front of us, its golden hues flickering and reflecting in his eyes. For a brief moment, I wondered if the fire had somehow connected us both, pulling at something deep within. "What is it, Emma?" Aiden asked again, his voice low and filled with that same wonder. "Why is the fire responding to you?" I shook my head slowly, unable to offer an explanation. I had lived with this strange connection to the fire my whole life, but I had never understood it. It was like a secret I couldn't unravel, a mystery hidden within my own being. I had never dared to speak of it to anyone, especially not to someone like Aiden, the Alpha King. His power, his strength, were intimidating enough. But now, standing so close to him, surrounded by the mysterious energy of the lunar fire, everything felt different. The fire's echoing pulse seemed to wrap around us, filling the air with a hum that was almost like a heartbeat of its own. "I don't know," I finally admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "But I feel it too. The fire, it's alive somehow. It's connected to me, but I can't explain why. Aiden's expression softened, a flicker of something softer crossing his features. For a moment, I saw something more than just the cold, calculating ruler. There was a hint of something human in his eyes, a flicker of vulnerability. I've never met an Omega like you, he said, his tone thoughtful. You're not like anyone I've known. His words made my heart skip a beat, and I suddenly felt the weight of his words. Aiden was the Alpha King, the leader of all. He had seen countless Omegas in his lifetime, and yet here he was, speaking to me like I was something extraordinary. It was a strange feeling, one I wasn't sure how to process. As if sensing my confusion, Aiden stepped closer, his presence overwhelming yet oddly comforting. The heat from the fire wrapped around us, its power swirling in the air like a living thing, responding to our every movement. You've always known, haven't you? He asked, his voice quiet but intense. That you're different. I nodded, feeling the weight of his words settle deep within me. I had always known that something was different about me. The way my heart would race whenever the fire was near, the way the flames would respond to my emotions, it was something I couldn't explain. But I had learned to live with it, to keep it hidden, even from myself. Aiden reached out then, his hand hovering just inches from mine. The air between us crackled with an unspoken energy, something palpable, something real. For a moment, I thought he might touch me, but he pulled back, his expression guarded once more. There's something here, Emma, he said softly, his eyes searching mine. Something we don't understand yet. But we will. His words hung in the air, and I could feel my heart race once again. Whatever this was between us, whatever this fire was, it was only the beginning. And I couldn't help but wonder where it would lead us both. I could feel the intensity of the moment lingering in the air. The fire continued to flicker, its golden flames dancing around us, alive with energy that seemed to respond to every shift in my emotions. Aiden's presence was overwhelming, yet somehow grounding, and as much as I wanted to step back, something kept me rooted to the spot. We stood there, suspended in time, as if the world around us had disappeared. We need to understand what's happening, Aiden said, his voice filled with a rare seriousness that made me look up at him. This connection, it's unlike anything I've ever felt before. It's not just the fire. It's you, Emma. I felt a knot tighten in my chest. His words were both comforting and terrifying. I had always known something was different about me, but hearing Aiden say it aloud made it all feel too real. What do you mean? I asked, my voice shaking slightly despite my attempts to stay composed. This power I feel, the fire. It's more than just an odd coincidence. The way it responds to you, there's something more to it. I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of his gaze on me. His eyes weren't just filled with curiosity anymore. There was something deeper, a sense of urgency. It was as if he knew this was just the beginning of something much bigger than either of us could understand. I don't know. I whispered, my breath catching in my throat. I felt it my whole life. The connection to the fire. But I've never been able to explain it. It's like the flames are calling to me. Aiden stepped closer, his eyes never leaving mine. The fire is calling to you, Emma, because it's tied to you. You're not like the others. You're not just any Omega. Something about you has awakened something in the fire. I can feel it. The weight of his words hit me hard. For a long time, I had hidden this part of myself, buried it deep inside where no one could see. But Aiden had seen through it all, and now the fire was revealing itself too. The lunar fire, which had always been a distant, mysterious force, now felt as if it were alive, as if it were responding to us, specifically, to me. We need to figure this out, Aiden said again, his voice more determined. This fire, your connection to it, it could change everything. We can't ignore it. I nodded slowly, feeling a mix of fear and excitement swirling inside me. I had never imagined that my life, my quiet existence, could be so intertwined with something as powerful and unpredictable as the lunar fire. But now, standing next to Aiden, surrounded by its glowing flames, I knew that everything was about to change. I had no idea what lay ahead, but one thing was certain. Whatever this was, whatever this power was, it would bring us closer together. And in that moment, I couldn't help but wonder if it was the fire that had brought us here, or something else entirely. I could feel the tension in the air as Aiden and I stood there, facing the glowing fire that seemed to pulsate with life. The night had grown colder, but the heat from the flames was undeniable, wrapping around us like a living entity. Every crackling sound from the fire echoed in my chest, almost in sync with my heartbeat. Aiden was silent for a long moment, his expression unreadable as his eyes followed the flames. He had been quiet since our last exchange, and I could feel his mind working, processing everything that had happened. "Emma," he finally said, his voice low but steady. "There's something I need to understand. This connection between you and the fire. It's not just about power, is it?" I looked at him, unsure of how to respond. I had felt it too, the strange bond that had formed between the fire and me. But how could I explain it? "It's more than power," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "It's like the fire recognizes me. It's always been this way. Whenever I'm near it, I can feel it responding to me. Almost like it's calling me, like it knows something I don't." Aiden's gaze softened, and for a brief moment, the distant, commanding Alpha King disappeared, replaced by something more vulnerable. "It's not just the fire, Emma. It's you. You have something inside you, something special. I can feel it." His words sent a shiver down my spine. The way he spoke about me, about my connection to the fire, made it feel like he saw something I had been hiding all my life. "What do you think it is?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. Aiden didn't answer right away. He seemed lost in thought, his gaze flicking between me and the fire, as though searching for something that was just beyond his reach. "I don't know," he said finally, "but I can't ignore it. There's something about you, Emma, something powerful, something that's more than just your connection to the fire. It's like you were meant for this, for something bigger than both of us." His words hung in the air, and I felt my heart race once again. What could he possibly mean? Could I really be meant for something bigger? And if so, what did that mean for me? For us? The fire crackled once more, louder now, as if it were responding to Aiden's words. The flames swirled and danced in a way I had never seen before, moving in rhythm with my heartbeats. I could feel the heat intensify, and I stepped closer to the fire, as though drawn to it by an invisible force. Aiden followed me, his steps hesitant but determined. "I don't know what this is, Emma," he said quietly, "but I won't let you face it alone." I looked up at him, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. "Aiden, whatever this is, we'll figure it out together," he said, his eyes locked on mine. "I promise you." In that moment, surrounded by the flames and the moonlight, I realized something. Whatever this connection was, it was just the beginning. And no matter what it would take, I would not face it alone. With Aiden by my side, I felt like we could conquer anything. The fire, the mystery, the unknown, it didn't seem so terrifying anymore. We had each other, and that was enough. For now, that was enough. I woke up to the soft glow of the morning sun filtering through the trees, casting long shadows across the forest floor. The events of the previous night still felt surreal, like a dream that I was struggling to make sense of. Aiden and I had stood together in the clearing, the lunar fire burning brightly in front of us, our hearts beating in unison with the flames. It was as if the fire had woven itself into the very fabric of our connection, drawing us closer together, revealing things neither of us had expected. As the morning light grew stronger, I could hear the faint rustling of leaves in the breeze, a reminder that the world had not stopped spinning. But everything felt different now, as though the ground beneath me had shifted in a way I couldn't quite explain. I turned to look at Aiden, who was still standing beside me, his gaze fixed on the horizon. He hadn't said much since we left the clearing, but I could sense the weight of his thoughts. He was a man of few words, but when he spoke, his voice always carried a certain authority, a quiet strength that commanded attention. "What do we do now?" I asked, breaking the silence. Aiden turned to face me, his expression unreadable. "We figure it out," he said simply. His eyes were steady, but there was something behind them, a flicker of uncertainty that I hadn't seen before. "Whatever this is, whatever this connection means, we're going to find answers. Together." His words reassured me, but they also made my heart race. The uncertainty of it all, the unknown, was both thrilling and terrifying. What if we never found the answers we were searching for? What if this connection between us was something we couldn't control? "I don't know if I can handle this," I admitted, my voice shaky. "I don't understand why the fire is so drawn to me, why it reacts to me in ways I can't explain. It feels like I'm losing control of something I don't even fully understand." Aiden's gaze softened, and he stepped closer to me. "You're not alone in this, Emma. Whatever this power is, whatever the fire represents, we'll face it together. I won't let you go through this alone. I looked up at him, the sincerity in his voice calming the storm of fear that had been swirling inside me. In that moment, I realized something. It wasn't just the fire that had brought us together. It was our shared resolve to face whatever lay ahead, to confront the unknown with determination and trust in each other. The fire, the connection, the mystery, it was all part of a journey that we would take together. And no matter how daunting it seemed, I knew I wasn't facing it alone. Thank you, I whispered, my voice full of gratitude. Aiden gave me a small smile, his eyes warm but still filled with that quiet strength. We'll figure this out, he said again, more firmly this time. Together, I nodded, feeling a sense of peace settle in my chest. There was still so much we didn't know, so much we had to uncover. But with Aiden by my side, I felt like I could face anything. And for the first time since the fire had begun its strange dance around me, I felt a sense of hope. The journey ahead was uncertain, but it was ours to take, together. I had never felt the world so heavy with possibility. As the days passed since that night, the fire continued to linger in my mind, its presence always just beneath the surface. Aiden and I had spent hours walking through the forest, discussing everything and nothing at the same time. We tried to make sense of the connection, but no answers had come. The fire had remained as enigmatic as ever, its power pulsing softly whenever I was near. Still, something felt different now. I was no longer afraid of it. And Aiden, despite his stoic demeanor, seemed equally determined to find the truth. We had returned to the clearing several times, each visit revealing more about the mysterious force that connected us. The flames would crackle in a way that felt almost like they were speaking to us, responding to our unspoken questions. It was in those moments that I saw a different side of Aiden. The strong, untouchable alpha king was still there, but there was something else. He was vulnerable in a way I hadn't expected. His eyes would linger on me when the fire's glow illuminated my face, as though searching for answers that neither of us had. I can't help but feel like we're getting closer, Aiden said one afternoon, his voice filled with quiet determination. He was standing by the fire, the sun dipping low behind him, casting long shadows across his face. Closer to what? I asked, my voice soft. To understanding what this is, he said, turning to face me. To understanding you. And the fire. I swallowed, unsure of how to respond. The weight of his words hung heavy between us, but I could feel the sincerity in his tone. Aiden had never been one to speak lightly, and the fact that he was so invested in finding the truth told me how important this was to him. What if we never understand it? I asked quietly. What if the answers never come? Aiden's eyes softened, and for a brief moment, I could see the uncertainty that lingered behind his calm exterior. Then we'll keep searching, he said, his voice steady. Together. His words were simple, but they meant everything. In that moment, surrounded by the trees and the fading sunlight, I knew that he wasn't just talking about the fire. He was talking about us. This connection between us, whatever it was, had brought us closer together. And I realized then that it didn't matter if we understood the fire or not. We had each other, and that was enough to keep moving forward. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but with Aiden by my side, I felt a sense of peace. We would face whatever came, together, and nothing would break the bond we had formed. The fire, the mystery, the unknown, it didn't seem so intimidating anymore. We had each other, and with that, we could conquer anything. I woke up to the sound of birds singing, the air thick with the scent of pine and earth. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a soft golden glow through the forest. Aiden was already awake, standing by the edge of the clearing, his broad shoulders outlined against the early morning light. He had been quiet lately, ever since that night in the clearing with the fire. There were moments when he seemed deep in thought, and I couldn't help but wonder what was going on inside his mind. I stood up slowly, stretching my stiff muscles, and walked over to him. He didn't acknowledge my presence at first, his eyes fixed on the horizon as if he were waiting for something that I couldn't see. Aiden, I said softly, not wanting to startle him. He turned to me, his expression as unreadable as ever. You're awake, he said simply. I was just thinking. I nodded, unsure of what to say next. We had spent so much time talking about the fire, about what it meant, but we had made little progress in understanding its true nature. The connection between us, though stronger than ever, still felt like a mystery we couldn't fully grasp. Do you ever wonder if we're meant to understand it? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Or if we're just meant to experience it? Aiden turned to face me, his dark eyes locking onto mine. There was something in them, a flicker of realization. Maybe it's not about understanding it, he said, his voice low but steady. Maybe it's about embracing it. Accepting that it's a part of us now, something we can't change. His words resonated with me in a way I hadn't expected. For the first time since the fire had entered my life, I didn't feel so lost. Maybe it wasn't about finding answers, but about learning to live with the uncertainty, to let the fire shape us in ways we couldn't predict. Aiden stepped closer, his presence warm and reassuring. Whatever happens, Emma, we're in this together, he said, his voice filled with quiet resolve. We'll figure it out. But we don't have to do it alone. I looked up at him, feeling the weight of his words settle in my chest. For a long time, I had been afraid of the fire, of the unknown, of the power I didn't understand. But with Aiden by my side, I felt like we could face anything. Together, the fire, the strange connection that bound us, it wasn't something to fear. It was something to embrace, to allow it to lead us on a path we had yet to discover. And in that moment, surrounded by the soft rustling of the trees and the warmth of Aiden's presence, I knew that we were ready. Whatever came next, whatever answers we found, we would face it together. The unknown no longer felt so intimidating. It felt like an invitation, a challenge to discover more, to learn, and to grow. And I was ready to meet it, ready to walk that path with Aiden, no matter where it led. I could feel the change in the air. It was subtle at first, but undeniable. The fire, always so distant and enigmatic, had become something else, something more intimate, more entwined with me than I could have ever imagined. Aiden and I had spent days following the same pattern, returning to the clearing, each visit a new attempt to understand this power that connected us. It was as though the fire was waiting for us to uncover something, a secret that we weren't yet ready to hear. But with each day, the connection between us deepened, as though the fire was becoming a part of us, not just something we observed from the outside. One evening, as the sky darkened and the first stars began to twinkle above, Aiden turned to me, his expression more serious than I had seen it in days. I think we're close, he said, his voice a soft whisper against the night air. I feel it, Emma. The fire, it's reacting to us in ways I've never seen before. I looked at him, the weight of his words pressing down on me. I had felt it too. The way the fire seemed to come alive when we were near, the way it would flicker and pulse in time with my heartbeat, like it knew us, recognized us. It wasn't just fire, it was something more. Do you think we're ready to understand it? I asked, my voice trembling slightly with both fear and excitement. Aiden stepped closer, his gaze intense, as if he were trying to peer straight through me. I don't know, he admitted, but I do know that we've come this far together. And that's more than I could have hoped for. I could hear the sincerity in his voice, and for a moment, the uncertainty that had clouded my mind lifted. No matter what happened next, no matter what we found out about the fire or about ourselves, I knew we were stronger together. We've learned so much already, I said, my voice steadying as I spoke. Maybe we're not supposed to understand everything right now. Maybe the point is to just keep moving forward, to trust what we feel and embrace it. Aiden nodded, his expression softening, as if my words had reached something deep within him. Maybe you're right, he said. Maybe the fire is trying to teach us something, something we can't explain yet. But it's teaching us, nonetheless. I reached out, taking his hand in mine, and together we stood in the clearing, the fire crackling softly in front of us, its glow illuminating the space around us. The wind whispered through the trees, and I could feel its energy, a subtle hum that seemed to come from the earth itself, as if the world were holding its breath, waiting for something. Aiden's grip tightened around my hand, and I looked up at him, feeling a sense of connection so deep, it was as if we were one. We'll face whatever comes, he said, his voice firm, and we'll face it together. I nodded, a sense of peace washing over me. We didn't have all the answers yet, but we had each other, and that was enough. The journey was far from over, but with Aiden by my side, I knew we could conquer anything. Whatever the fire wanted to show us, whatever truths lay ahead, we were ready. We were no longer just two people standing in front of a mystery. We were partners, bound together not just by the fire, but by something far stronger, trust, and the certainty that we were in this together, no matter where the path took us. I could feel the weight of the world shifting around us, like the moment before a storm when the air is thick with anticipation. The fire in the clearing had grown in intensity, not just in its physical heat, but in the energy that crackled between Aiden and me. We had spent so many days trying to make sense of it, but there was still something elusive, something we hadn't fully understood. Yet, somehow, I felt closer to the truth than I ever had before. Aiden was standing by the edge of the clearing, staring into the flames, his expression serious, contemplative. I had come to know that look. It was the one he wore when he was trying to make sense of something too vast, too complicated for even him to control. I stepped toward him slowly, feeling the familiar hum of energy in the air, the fire's pulse still matching my heartbeat. As I neared him, I saw the flicker of the fire reflected in his eyes, and for a moment, everything else disappeared. It was just us, standing there, tethered to something far greater than ourselves. "What do you see when you look at the fire?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Aiden didn't turn to face me right away. He was lost in the flames, the shadows of the night dancing around him. Finally, he spoke, his voice low and steady, as if he were still trying to understand the answer himself. "I see everything and nothing," he said. "I see power. I see destruction. I see a force that's beyond anything I've known. But most of all, I see you." His words hung in the air, and I could feel the intensity of his gaze even without looking directly at him. "I see you, Emma, standing here, with the fire, with me. You're not just a part of this. You are this." I felt my breath catch in my throat. It wasn't just the fire he saw, it was me. The connection that had grown between us over the past few days had become more than just a shared experience. It was something deeper, something that bound us together. "I don't know if I'm ready for this," I admitted, my voice shaky. "I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all of this power, this energy." Aiden finally turned to me, his eyes meeting mine with an intensity that sent a shiver through me. "You don't have to be ready, Emma. You don't have to have all the answers right now. We're learning, together. And that's enough." The fire crackled louder, almost in response to his words, as if it agreed with him. Aiden reached out and took my hand in his grip strong but comforting. "We're not alone in this, Emma. Not now, not ever. The fire, it's part of us. And together, we can figure out what it wants, what it means. But no matter what happens, we face it together." His words were a promise, a vow that I could feel deep in my bones. Whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them as one. The fire, the unknown, the mystery that had brought us to this point. It wasn't something to fear anymore. It was a part of us, and we were ready to embrace it. I squeezed his hand, feeling the weight of his commitment, and for the first time, I felt a sense of peace. We didn't have all the answers, and we might never fully understand the fire, but we had each other. And that was enough to carry us forward, into the unknown, with the certainty that no matter where the journey led, we would always stand together.